My name is Dale, and when I was 14, I had 2 strokes. The second stroke was debilitating. After my first stroke, I was totally fine after about 20 minutes. I remember that I was in the ICU because the doctors were worried that I could have another stroke. I was with my family and friends eating Arby's that my grandparents brought me. About halfway through my meal, I was suddenly so exhausted. I sat my sandwich on the tray and looked at my mom to tell her that I was tired. She looked at me and burst out crying. I looked at my grandmother in confusion, and then in about 10 seconds, I was completely unconscious. The last thing I remember was my sweet mother frantically screaming for someone to help me, and I felt my grandmother's hand on mine. I was out. The next thing I know, I am aware in pitch black. There was someone behind me communicating with me. The exchange was nothing like I have ever experienced. The closest thing that I can compare it to is telepathy. No words or even thoughts of words were exchanged. It was bizarre. My companion and I were floating somewhere. I didn't even think to ask. I felt an overwhelming sense of communion with my companion. It's like we were one person or something. Like I said, it was bizarre. Finally, I had the urge to meet this companion face to face. I looked back, didn't see anything, and I woke up in the hospital. Back to my world. I had another stroke, and woke up to the doctors telling my parents that I likely wouldn't make it. All I could think to say was, "Hey guys." Everyone was overjoyed, except me. I was trying to make sense out of what I had experienced while I was out. About a week later, still in the hospital, I caught MRSA. The worst of the staph infection left me sleeping most of the time. One night I called in the nurse to let me relieve myself. I pressed the button and immediately went out. I was back with my companion, and we came to an opening that was filled with fractals of brilliant colors. I explain a lot of the colors I saw. More bizarre, I was astonished. It was a giant room that didn't seem to have a ceiling. I turned around to finally see my companion. It had the outline of a human male, but was made of the moving geometric shapes and was giant. I was staring at the being when I saw a white fractal growing where people's mouths are located. I was shot through a tunnel of the most beautiful, indescribable colors. At the end of the tunnel was another black world. I was floating looking for anyone when the brightest light I've ever seen appeared. Bizarre. I instinctively tried to look away, and did. I now had a different viewpoint. I saw an altar made of the same type of fractals I had seen before. There was a person on the altar. Same outline as a human male, but was made of translucent blue light with a black what looked like a nervous system. The light was above me. It came down. Intense pain, the worst I have ever experienced, pierced through my being. The light rose. That man on the altar was me. The light was literally pulling out the black nerves in my body. There was no animosity towards the light, strange enough. I knew it was holy. It would send me one-sided thoughts, but I could not communicate to it. It was extremely painful, but I felt that the light was like a physician. It was taking away the sickness. I didn't know what the sickness was, but I knew that I was sick. I had certain flashbacks of my life, but it wasn't the good times. I saw myself hurting other people. The light made me feel what they were feeling. It was brutal, but therapeutic. When the light was done ripping out my nerves, I felt like the light was my friend instead of a judge. I am an engineer now. I rely on the scientific method day in and day out. It could have been a flush of DMT that made me hallucinate. I can't seem to accept that. It was more real than me typing this. I woke up bawling and woke my parents up. I just told them I loved them. Ironically, I was a staunch atheist until I was well into adulthood. My life has purpose, and I believe that yours does too. I believe that we are here to serve others. Weird. It is a mystery that I can't answer besides telling my subjective experience. God does exist to me. I'm not sure if he was my light or not, but there is not a question in my mind that there is a creator.